Before Derek has to go, I wanted him to speak a little bit about some Ohio funding that there is, because we got funding at the end, and he does have another. This is Manufacturing Month, so I was just lucky to get him for a few minutes. So I have a few minutes to let him come up and talk about a few things as companies that you might want to look into in the state of Ohio.
Thank you, Kathy. This is kind of improv. So I mentioned I work for Lieutenant Governor Husted's office, covers 17 counties down here. We have the latest operating budget just passed, so there's a lot of funding for career tech education expansion, and some hundreds of thousands of dollars for, or more than that, for equipment funding for career tech education, and for career tech schools to expand their operation and expand their curriculum as well. So Chad mentioned that career tech schools are at capacity now, which wasn't an issue 5 years ago. So fortunately, the negative stigma associated with career tech education is going away. That message seems to be resonating with parents and grandparents, which is great to see. So these career tech schools are at capacity, and that's a great problem to have. So the state of Ohio is funding expansion for career tech ed, and there's a lot of money in the latest operating budget for that. By a show of hands, how many have at least heard of Tech Cred, the Tech Cred program? Okay, great, over half the room, that's great to see. So if you're not aware of the program, yeah, that's great. Tech Cred is a state reimbursement program for training. So you can couple that with the apprenticeship as well. They have to be W-2 earners by the time reimbursement is processed, so they have to be fully on board employees by the time the state reimburses for that training. But the state will reimburse up to $2,000 per industry recognized credential, up to $30,000 per employer per round, and there's a new round of funding open every other month through the end of the year. So we just got done with the application period in September. There's another one open for the full month of November, and then the General Assembly had an appetite to fund Tech Cred again, so there's another batch of Tech Cred funding for the next 2 years as well. So likely every other month for the next couple of years. So that's, again, $2,000 per industry recognized technology credential, which ranges from everything from Microsoft Office programming to Adobe to Phantom Robotics and automation, anything that involves technology, and it's got to be industry recognized and short term. So the curriculum has to be completed within 12 months, short-term credentials. And series of courses, a training course, anything that you can get a certificate or a certification at the end of. Tech Cred will reimburse. The state of Ohio will reimburse you for that funding. So if you're offering formalized training already in your organization and you're not getting reimbursed for that, you could be missing out on up to $180,000 a year if you're not using Tech Cred. You can stack that funding with other programming as well. And again, apprentices are eligible as long as they're W-2 earners by the time reimbursement is processed. But we have a lot of great programs in the state of Ohio. Workforce development is a top priority of Lieutenant Governor Husted's. He comes from this space, and that's his passion. That's why he ran for office in the first place. So he's passionate about this, and our whole team. He's the director of the Governor's Office of Workforce Transformation in his role in Columbus. He also oversees the Common Sense Initiative, the Ohio CSI, which looks at state regulations. So if you're facing potentially burdensome or costly regulations in your organization, they can take a look at that. And he also oversees Innovate Ohio. So there's a lot of mention of innovation earlier, and there are a lot of new innovative sectors coming up. We just announced the Joby Aviation invested in Ohio a couple weeks ago up in the Dayton region. They're investing, it's the largest aerospace investment in the state's history, and the largest investment this year to date in Ohio. And they build air taxis. So they're manufacturing those up in the Dayton region, cranking out about 500 air taxis a year, which is exciting. So a lot of exciting manufacturing employers in Ohio, and Manufacturing 4.0. It is Manufacturing Week, so we'll be staffing Lieutenant Governor a little bit later this week, and he'll be in the region. And Manufacturing Month, really, October, right? It started as a day, the first Friday in October, and it grew into a week, and now it's a full month. But every day is Manufacturing Day in Ohio, so we're excited. I can't speak highly enough of apprenticeships, and Apprentice Ohio does a great job. Holly and her team, they do a great job, and We'll see if the Department of Education morphs into the Department of Education and Workforce. I think that would benefit everybody. So that's still TBD, but I guess that's official right now. But there just needs to be some organizational things fall into place, and so we're excited about that transformation of the Department of Education to embrace the workforce. And right now in Ohio, we have about pretty consistently 30,000 jobs that pay over $50,000 more a year that don't require a college degree. So we have more jobs than people, and that's a demographic issue. So we're always looking for people. That's another good problem to have, but it's something that we have to address and embrace while it's that way right now. It's a job seekers market. So that's why these conversations about apprenticeship are so important. So thanks again for your time, and looking forward to this conversation with the panel here.
Any questions?